Spera, and this is the iTechGear Weekly, episode number 112. Help! I've fallen back and I can't get up. Recorded live Sunday, November 3rd, 2024, live from iTechGear Central. As I said, I'm Christopher Spera, the editor-in-chief over at iTechGear.org, and joining us today, back, and feeling much, much better, Dr. Mr. Larry McJunkin. How are you, sir?
I am much better. You're absolutely right. Even though I managed to survive a root canal this week, I'm still better. I don't recommend those for everybody, but I tell you what, this guy, he was really good, so I'm okay with it. More than anything, I'm just happy that if you go look at my house on Zillow now, it says pending, which is a good thing.
That's good stuff.
Good for you.
Stuff. That's good stuff.
Other than that, life is normal.
Awesome. Awesome. And those dulcet tones, my friends, back with a special thing that will show up later on tonight.
Yeah, a miracle.
The former contributing editor over at Gear Diary and Pocket Now, and of course, editor here at iTechGear.org, Mr. Chris Gavula. How are you, sir?
I have no idea what you're talking about.
Thank you.
I can't even imagine.
It's a miracle.
You know what?
It's a Thanksgiving miracle. That's what it is.
No, you know what it must be? It must be the time change, because help, I've fallen back and I can't get up.
You can't get up. Thank you. And welcome.
Good.
And
deal.
last but never, ever least, the former contributing writer at Gear Diary, and of course, the host of the Linux Link Tech Show and Living in the Retro Arcade podcast. And of course, editor here at iTechGear.org, Brother Joe McLaughlin. How are you, sir?
2 inches shorter. No, I'm smaller. Well, kind of, sort of. Unfortunately, I have to go. I'm in a little bit of a mourning. It wasn't a family member, but I have a pastor who I've known through a long time of my life. He's passed away at the age of 89.
So
I'm going to go to his funeral, but I had to go buy something a little nicer to wear than like jeans. So I was able to buy 38s instead of 40s. So
there you go.
But I did try 48 or 38 jeans, and those didn't quite button. But that's okay, because these ones were stretchy.
And I will tell you that all 38s are not created equally. So
no, this is true.
That's what
this is true. Absolutely true.
But
well,
you know what is created equally?
Well, maybe.
Apparently.
What is it?
Well, it's Apple's exciting week of M4.
Well, the exciting week of no event.
Well,
They saved a lot of money. They saved a lot of money on production by doing it this way.
They did.
Yeah.
They did.
And you know what? I actually like it better. Just give us the news. Don't give us the show. We don't need that show.
Don't give us all the
your dog and your pony love the show.
I want to watch the engineers running around the sterile tables.
When they're introducing something brand new that we have never seen before, like they did with the M1 Mac, I want to see a freaking dog and pony show.
Right.
I want to see it. But this is just an iterative kind of change for the most part, just mostly iterative changes. I don't need to see that. It's just, okay, you gave me more power, you gave me the same thing, right?
Yep.
Is it much more than that, guys? So why don't we go over what we got? What did we get?
Well, they got, and so basically the M4's made it to everything but the MacBook Air.
And there's no studio Mac yet. No, it's in the MacBook Air.
Not yet.
Not yet.
No.
Okay.
No,
but it's in the studio Mac. We don't have it in the studio.
This is correct. The studio is still M2.
Yeah, but their recent week kind of focused heavily on the entire Mac lineup. But they started with the iMac. That was their first big one. They made it, they claim, 1.7 times faster than it was. We'll see. Nobody probably really cares, but it is new and it is better and it's faster. And they did introduce the 12 megapixel center stage camera on the iMac. And that is a big deal. Especially if people do Zoom meetings or meetings.
Sure.
Absolutely. And they gave it a few more colors. Not that the colors never did a lot for me. I know they do for some, but not a lot for me. Their next one was the Mac Mini, which is now supposedly Apple's first carbon neutral Mac. and it offers a smaller design in M4 and the M4 Pro chip.
Okay.
And I think they introduced Thunderbolt 5, didn't they? Yeah, Thunderbolt 5 also. And then the last thing was, of course, the hefty M4 MacBook Pro.
Mm-hmm.
All of the Mac M4 chips, the M4, the M4 Pro, the M4 Max.
Is
Yeah.
this the first time the MacBook Pro had the Max in it?
I
No.
don't think
No.
so.
Okay.
I think
No,
it
no,
always-
no. They've always
Yeah,
had the
they-
Max. What they
yeah.
have not had is
Okay.
the Ultra. They don't
The
have
thing
the
that
Well,
Ultra.
I can't afford a Max, so that's probably why I didn't know.
Well, the thing that they say,
Right.
they say that this will deliver much faster performance and
Right.
much enhanced capability as compared to the previous generations. But
Mhm.
it's kind of an actual quote, but it's really dumb. What did we expect them to say? I mean,
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah,
But, you
I
know-
think so. Basically, they brought the M4 series to their top-selling Macs. Is what they
Right.
Yeah.
essentially
Well,
did.
That's what they did.
I think the Air actually probably sells better than the others. I don't know. But
Uh,
you know
it-
what?
it-
But I do know why I thought that the Air was already on that. It's because there was a change made to the Airs this week, was there not?
There was
No, I don't see one.
Yes.
16
Yes, there is.
gigabytes.
Yep, the default is now 16, not 8.
Same price.
Gigabytes.
They didn't change the price.
Okay, yeah.
That's why,
Yeah.
because I knew there had been an Air announcement this week.
Yep.
So
Okay.
that was my mess up. So
Other
yeah, but it's a
than that, it's the
it's a
same
good mess
chip.
up.
Yeah, it's the same
take
chip. It's just more memory
Yep.
more memory and storage. So it's, I mean, they're finally like kicking
Doing-
8 gigabytes
yeah.
to the curb like 10 years
Finally,
late.
yep, where they should have been. I agree, but they've done it,
Yeah.
and that's a big thing for them. That's a big thing.
It
for them.
is.
Yep. And
It
the question here is, well, there's two kind of design faux pas I think they made. They perpetuated the bottom charging Magic Mouse with the USB-C version of it. Like they had the opportunity to fix it, but they didn't. And they made the same mistake on the Mac Mini where they put the power button on the bottom.
This
Don't even. It's irritating. That's all it is. You know.
It's Apple
Yeah.
Apple has made a few mistakes.
Yeah.
Right.
Mhm.
A few.
And this is one of them.
Mhm.
All right. They took the power button for the new Mac Mini, and not only did they put it on the bottom of the device,
On the bottom in the back.
but they put it on the bottom back right corner, as I recall.
Mhm.
All right. And
Don't ever look for it to change because they will never.
no,
admit
they will never
failure.
change
No.
it. No,
No.
that design ship has sailed. All right.
Mhm.
This, however, is beyond stupidity. All right.
Yep.
I mean, they did this, and Larry, what else did they do here? Oh yes, the Magic Mouse.
The Magic
Yeah,
Mouse.
Put
the Magic
They
Mouse.
put the USB-C charging port for
On
this
the bottom. Same
still on the
location as the
bottom.
Lightning.
It's
Yeah.
still on the bottom. It used to be Lightning port, and in the
Yeah.
upper right
Now,
middle.
to me,
of
that's
the-
way more dumber than the power button.
Yeah, but
it really
Yes.
is.
You know what? That never bothered me. And yes, I agree it's dumb. Okay. I'm not going to disagree with you because I think it is a dumb place for it. But it didn't bother me so much on it because the bottom line is I'm not using it plugged in. So for me, it's like, I'm
And
charging
it
it
only
overnight.
takes 3 hours to fully
You know,
charge.
so I
and
plug
it's
it in
good
and
for
let it
3
charge
months. I mean,
Right,
Well,
I'm not
besides the
right.
questionable ergonomics of the thing in the first place.
It
Some
works
some
okay.
people don't like some people don't like it. It doesn't bother me. I use one every day.
I found the Magic Mouse is one of those things. Once you get used to that scrolling on the top surface, you're pretty much good to go. Once you get used
Right.
to it.
that
Yeah.
is true, but I mean,
I don't disagree that
could
that's
they not
dumb.
put the charging port on the front or the back of the damn
Oh,
device?
I agree
So
with
that I
you,
could
but
go ahead and keep on using it while it's charging.
I agree with you, but
Yes.
I never did that, so it didn't bother me. But I'm not making excuses for it. I'm just saying it didn't bother me in my case. But
Right.
I can see why it's a dumb design, and I agree
mean,
it's a dumb design.
this is in, at least in my opinion, beyond stupidity. You know,
Mhm.
Again,
and
Yeah,
honestly, I do have a feeling that this is one of those things that if Steve Jobs were alive, he would fire the person that made this decision.
I don't know. I don't know about that. I mean, from a marketing perspective,
yeah.
I'm going to buy the Mac Mini. I don't give a flying rat's patootie that where the power button
Yeah,
is. I
I'm not
just don't.
sure.
Well, it's because you're never going to turn the thing
But
off.
I
You're just
think
gonna, it's
what's
just going
going
to
to
sleep on
happen.
its own.
I
It'll
think what's
bother
going to
Chris's
happen.
mom a lot. I
Yeah,
know.
because she does power hers off. But I think for most people, I really think for most people, they're not going to care. I really just
No.
think they're not
Yeah.
going to care. I still think it's a dumb design
Oh
choice,
yeah.
but
Oh,
I
it's
don't think
completely
I don't think it's
stupid.
going to change. I don't think it's going to change the sales on the thing. I don't
Not
think we're
one
going to
bit.
see major campaigns, people complaining about it. I just don't think it's going to happen. It's going to get a short term. What the crap
People
were they
will
doing?
overlook it. They'll be looking at the size of this
And
thing.
as Joel said in
Oh,
the pre-show, the apologists will come out, and that
yep.
between those two groups, it's not going to matter. They're going to sell what they're going to sell. It'll still get out
That
there.
is true. They will sell what they're going
And
to sell, and I
it's
have a
still more
feeling it's
ups
going to
and
be successful as it ever
and
was.
I think we all agree too that the specs on it are much better than its predecessor
Wow.
anyway. So
Yes.
Oh yeah.
that'll overshadow anything. I guarantee it.
Mm-hmm.
Both of these devices are going to sell and sell well. All
Yeah, they
right.
Yep.
really will.
The Mac Mini is now the same size as
Yep.
an Apple TV. All
A little
right.
Yep.
thicker. I think it's a
All
little
right.
bit thicker.
It may
It is. Yeah. A
it
little
might
bit
be a
bigger,
little
You
bit
know,
thicker,
thicker.
but I mean,
I just thought of a reason maybe why they did that, because a lot of people would take
What do you
Mac
think?
Minis and put them on like a thing like a mount that can go on the back of a monitor, so then you could put the back
Oh, that's
face.
true.
You see what I'm saying? Or the easy solution is just use it upside down so the pretty Apple is on the bottom instead. You
Yeah.
know,
But you know
but
what else is interesting though, and we complain about the button being where it is, but we just mentioned the like the Apple TV. There's no
yep.
power button on Apple TV. You
Nope.
want
Nope.
a power cycle, you got to unplug the stinking thing.
Mm-hmm.
that's true.
Mm-hmm.
So that to me is almost a worse design choice than putting the button on the bottom. I'd rather have
Yep.
had a button.
That's true. That's true.
So this isn't the first shot at being dumb
No,
by
no,
No.
far.
I agree. I think what bothers me the most about this is that a Starfleet trainee and two chimpanzees wouldn't put this stuff on the bottom.
No.
Either of these.
No.
All right. Honest to God.
I don't know. Have you met some of our trainees? I'm just saying.
Yes, I
Lately.
have. I've gone to the lower decks. So,
Badoom.
but the point that I'm making here is both of these decisions, I think, really do a little bit more than make you scratch your head.
Right.
You guys are so good with, advanced design and being able to, I mean, everything looks good, everything is a great aesthetic, and then you do something stupid like this.
Mm-hmm.
I don't get it. It's
I
almost
have to
as
agree.
though it's almost as though somebody's got all the design plans up
I
and they've
mean,
got it all set, and
pardon my French, but
and then the
almost,
cat walks across the keyboard, automatically
I
sends it to the design shop, to the shop, and away it goes. And you
wait a
didn't
minute. Yeah.
know.
I don't know. To me, it's almost like they must occasionally deliberately throw like a big FU into the project. It's like they almost don't do it deliberately once in a while.
Yep.
I don't know. I don't know what the deal is.
Or maybe
I
they're
would have
just
to
trying
agree.
to make money for accessory companies. I don't know. I mean,
I would have to agree. I would have
Yeah.
to agree. It's just really, I mean, this is really just really dumb.
Yep.
All right. I mean, it really, really
in
is.
both cases. So I mean,
Yeah,
it's
it was.
So, you know what isn't dumb though?
No.
Apple, I think, made a really, really great decision recently, and they acquired Pixelmator Pro.
yeah.
I am very close to both products we're going to talk about.
And honestly, Larry, you were saying earlier this week that they should take this acquisition and then bring back Aperture.
Well, I agree. I forget where we sourced this, but for those unfamiliar,
With
first of all,
9 to 5 Mac.
Aperture, a lot of Mac users out there don't remember Aperture. It was a professional photo editing software. Apple brought it out in 2005, and that's about the time that I really started being more and more interested in serious aperture photography. But I never was a Photoshop person. I hate Photoshop. I absolutely despise it. I never could learn it. And I think that's why I hate it. I never was good with it. but aperture allowed me to have a lot of the features that Photoshop had in a very easy to use manner. And it worked as well with a lot of the features like Adobe Lightroom has, a lot of great editing, advanced features. But more than anything, there was nothing ever that organized your photos better than aperture. That was, if you used it for nothing more, it was great. So what did Apple do? 2014, they said, it's gone, we're going to kill it. So they killed it when they brought out the new Photos app. And I don't know, they took away iPhoto as well, but Apple has never shown any interest in the interim in building a replacement for Aperture, which I always thought was
But
stupid.
they did steal a couple of the features and throw it into Photos, a couple of them
Well,
into the
that's
editing.
true. They did. I mean, and granted, I've used Photos, but when Pixelmator Pro came out, I moved to
Yeah.
that. And for the most part, it's not Photoshop, but it's 98% of Photoshop, but it's learnable in 10 minutes. That's the difference. I mean, you can go from ground zero through the learning curve and you're off and running.
Thing is,
Whereas,
Aperture came out when they were
Mm.
still doing a true pro version of Final Cut.
Yeah,
right,
true.
The later versions of Final Cut aren't anywhere close to some of the old versions with the amount of manual things. They're more automated. It's more prosumer now than it was pro
Yeah,
because
I
it
would
used to be
agree.
pro.
but
And
yeah,
it's
but
like they have no desire to do pro software anymore.
well, there's a big hole, Joel, in what they do. Something is, and it's between the Photos app, which for the average guy or girl, I mean, it's okay.
90%, yeah,
They can do
90%
a
of what they
lot of,
need.
if you look at that app hard, you can do a lot more editing than you think you can, but it's not Photoshop. Of course it's not.
No.
It's not
Correct.
Lightroom. Of course it's not.
Correct.
But if you're an amateur photographer, and the thing is, there's a gap between that and things like Photoshop. And this is where Pixelmator Pro, I think they could bring it back and they could gain a lot of users here. I mean, a lot of people are into photos.
A lot of people are into photos, and with the quality of cameras that they've got now on the iPhone 16 series and
Oh,
Pro
yeah.
series and the iPhone 15 series and 15 Pro series, it's a lot of camera power there.
I gotta
I
tell
would
you,
love to be able to have a Apple native, Mac native app
True.
that
That's exactly where I was going.
integrated with my photos library. I could get access to all my movies. I can get access to all of my photos, and I can do whatever it is that I need to do with them.
I
All right.
hope they'll morph this into the next Aperture. I really
Well,
do.
I hope that they make this compatible with all of the Lightroom presets that are out there, you know, so that you could have, because I would much prefer to have, love Lightroom. Don't get me wrong. I love Lightroom. All right.
Me too.
It does a good job. All right. But I would like a much better and much easier way to organize presets and have them show up so I can get the kinds of things that I want where I want them, and have like things together so I can see this
Without
version of
leaving
a
the
preset versus
ecosystem,
that
so
version
to
of a
speak.
preset, and be able to pick the right black and white that I'm looking for the right effect, and not have to go up
Right.
and down the freaking list to find what I'm looking for. Right.
Well,
I don't know.
'Cause
hopefully it'll
I have
happen.
hundreds of presets. I have hundreds.
If
All
you've
right.
never used Pixelmator Pro, I tell you what, there is nothing. I mean, it is beautiful. It is so well done. It is just phenomenal.
So I would love to see a pro photo app come back, or a prosumer photo app come back from Apple. I would love to see this happen.
Yep.
Apple's doing some interesting investing on the sides, you
They
know.
are.
They're
Yeah.
doing this, and they've got their whole thing that they're investing in their satellite service now.
Yeah.
They're really doing a lot lately. I'm glad to see. I'd like to see this turn into a product, whether it's Pixelmate, or whether they just roll it into some other product. Like you said, bring back Aperture. Its brand name has some value. You could
It's
leverage
true.
that brand name.
It
So
does.
I think there's a lot to be said there.
But the important thing, I think, is what Chris Spera just said.
Yeah.
Being able to stay within, if you're an Apple head, well, you want to stay within the ecosystem. And
Sure.
if you can move back and forth between your phone and Aperture or whatever it might come out to be, that would be great. I mean, a lot of us are finding with the camera in 16 Pro, I'm getting interested in photography again. I'd let it lapse for years.
Well, I'll tell you,
Mhm.
you're
Yes.
seeing a lot of, if you check out YouTube once in a while, where they have a lot of things coming out now where they're talking about some of these advanced features that most of us would never have cared about, a few years ago. And they're
True.
talking about them more and more and more. And they'll say, gee, on an iPhone, you do this, on an Android phone, you do this, on a Pixel specifically, you do these other things that are available.
Right.
On a Samsung, this is how they do those
Right.
things. And then they talk
Right.
about the tools they use to edit and get there. There's a lot of things coming out, to, as you guys kind of put it earlier, the prosumer space. There's a lot of filling in going on there, and this
Right.
would niche rightly into that kind of
It
zone. I
would.
like that a lot.
It would. And I would like
And
to be able to see something where
well,
on your iPhone 15, 16 series devices, pros included, I would love to see Aperture or something come
sure.
from this acquisition that would include access to an iPhone-based app or at least some kind of a plugin
Well, it
so that you
does.
could move back and forth in between these things seamlessly.
It does fill another gap too, because they already have a quote unquote, and we can argue how professional it is, but they do have a pro, recording app, and they have a pro video app. So
They
they
do.
kind of are missing
Yeah,
this
they're missing
pro level,
skills here, right?
but they're missing this pro level kind of photo editing app, and
That's
that's
true.
kind of that's kind of a gap that they're seem to be maybe heading to filling. Maybe be nice.
Okay.
Yep.
Awesome.
If there's money in it, they'll fill the gap.
That's for
Of course they
sure.
will. Or they'll just integrate it into Apple Photos.
Or they'll integrate it into Photos. One of
Oh,
those
if that
things.
works, that's fine, but I don't know.
Photos Pro, I don't know.
Mhm.
Whatever.
So hopefully they will go ahead and we'll see something come
Yeah.
of this. I would really like to see it hit, and I think it would be. I agree with all of you. They've got a pro audio app. They've got a pro video app. They're missing. This is a huge hole for them in a
Yep.
pro
I think so.
based photos app.
Mhm.
Whether you're using a DSLR and high or mid-range DSLR or even the iPhone Pro, right?
They're also kind of missing a pro drawing app, but that's another kind of
It's a
category
whole
they could cover.
another situation,
Yeah. But
right?
this does fill a big gap for them if they in fact do this.
If they
do what we
actually
think
do
they're
something
doing.
with this.
Yeah.
So let's see what happens.
Yeah.
But you know what? You know what else I think is really interesting, especially with iOS 18.1 finally introducing some of the Apple Intelligence features.
They
Is
are.
this whole smart replies in Apple Mail.
Loving it.
All right. Well, Larry, you use it.
Well, no, Chris was going to lead us in, though.
Well, I'll be honest with you. I don't use it much. I just thought it was interesting. I don't use most of those kinds of features, but it's interesting that they've done it, and I understand that they've done it better than most, apparently. So
Yeah.
is what I'm hearing. But if you're losing it, Larry, please feel free. Feel free.
No, it's I don't know. For me, it was enough when I tried it that I left my email client on both my Mac and the Gmail app on my iPhone and went back to Apple Mail. So
Huh.
for me to do that, it took a lot of something for me to do that. I don't know. They just the biggest thing I find is the automated replies. I was used to using Gmail where, if you were replying, it would say something like, yeah, that's okay, or sounds like a good idea. But
Yeah.
they were canned. They weren't AI. They were just canned
Right.
replies
They were canned.
based on a keyword that they picked up
Right.
in the message.
Right.
But
Right.
this, and I tried it the first time, and someone sent me, it was a developer I was talking with about a new app that he's coming out with, and I was just chatting with him, and he said something, and I did reply after I had turned on the AI feature in my Mac. I turned it on, and I hit reply, and I had about four responses that it popped up, and I went,
Mhm.
wow, any one of them's great. And they were thorough, and it was just amazing. So from that point on, I started playing with it, experimenting with it, and it is really, really good. The other thing that I find is good that I never have ever liked about any email app, and that's that feature. I mean, Spark did it, Outlook Mail does it. The Outlook Mail forces you to do it. They try to on an iPhone anyway. It's the one where they try to bubble up what they think are important messages and put them in the top of your inbox or
Yeah.
make you look at them first. I never did agree with that because it never worked for me.
No.
This really works. It puts nothing but the messages. I mean, I look at it every day and I shake my head and I go, wow, that's exactly what I want at the top of my inbox. So I think it was Chris Gavula that said a long
Yeah.
time ago when Apple brings out AI, you said they won't throw it in your face and it'll be minimal to start with, and
It'll
it
be little
was
things.
little
Yeah.
bitty
It'll
things,
be little useful things.
and guess what else they did? They didn't just throw the Copilot button in your face. They made you actually work to turn it on. You have to go in and get on a wait list for 20 minutes or 15 minutes, and then it'll turn on your device or devices because it's tied to your Apple account, actually. And when that happens, then you still have to go into settings on all your devices and turn it on and configure it. And the other thing that it actually does well, if you let it, and it gives you the choice, I have it set for my Gmail messages to combine or make a summarization of all of my Gmail messages. So instead of having 50 emails pop or 50 notifications pop up on my lock screen, I get one, and I can just tap that one, and it goes. It does a little short, like a half sentence about each one of those things, each message, which is just really cool. I mean, I could not be
Yeah.
happier.
I was gonna
Period.
say, so I mean, we started talking about the smart reply feature, but what you just sort of led into is the summarization features that it does of a thread, what's going on in the thread.
Really
And I
good.
still find it's
Hmm.
about 75-25 in terms of its summarization actually being accurate or useful to what's
Right.
going on or bringing up the right highlights. But that's still way better than what I had going ahead of
Mm.
time trying to figure.
I probably
You know,
find it better because I like it so much that
I
I'm
do
more
like it.
pro.
Well, the other thing I find with email, the challenge I have with email, being in the job that I get a lot of automated emails
Right.
sent to me all the time, and
Hmm.
so I'm getting probably 300 a day, different
Sure.
messages, and so I need summarization to help me.
Yep.
I used to use the titles, and I would say you automatically filter to certain folders based on the titles because I can't read all of those. It can't
Right.
can't be done. The summarization adds another layer of filtering for me, if you
Mm.
will. That's actually quite useful on my Apple email boxes, and it makes me want to run screaming away from my Outlook inboxes. You know, it really
Geez,
does because they
I
don't have it.
wonder why.
I
Why
don't know
doesn't
about
Copilot do this?
Chris. I don't know if you,
Mhm.
Chris G. I don't know if you've noticed this, but the minute I turned on AI on my devices, I did find that
Yeah,
Siri started making some mistakes on its normal
it
response.
does. It
On my
does
home automation stuff, every time I tell Siri to do something, she goes, I'm thinking, wait a minute, and things like that. Well,
because the
she never
mechanisms
did
they
that
used
before.
before don't work anymore. So you have to build new mechanisms. I think
So I
is
Mhm.
what
think
it
there's a
is.
lot of work for Apple to be
I
done
do
yet.
too. Oh yes, I think this again. I think this is it's like I said. When Google released Gemini, it screwed up so much existing stuff that they need to come back and fix. So to go to these new
Yeah.
tools, I think you have to go back and clean up your old tools
Yeah.
to line up with them. I
I
think
mean, I
that's what it
was
comes
using
down to.
Gemini too, but for me, this is totally different, a totally
Oh, I
different
agree.
experience.
I agree.
Yeah.
They're not the same. But what I'm saying is structurally, Gemini
Yep.
screwed up
Yep.
the existing Google Assistant stuff a lot.
Yep.
It
Yeah,
just it wasn't
it's
very good at it. And the
ever
same thing is
since
true with this.
right, and ever since Gemini, some of the things that used to work, like if I was
Yeah,
driving along and I wanted to know something, I would just hit the speaker, the little
right.
microphone thing on the
Yep.
car and say, "Hey G, blah blah blah," and it would be like, I don't know what you're talking about, or
And-
Right.
or
and I
something
agree.
like
And so-
that. You know,
so I agree
it
that-
just
that-
it's completely lost. It's
I
And
think
I
Apple
love
Intelligence-
the lighting on my iPhone with Siri. I love it. It's so
Right.
cool.
But I do think that the AI stuff has broken some aspects and fixed some aspects of
Mhm.
Siri at the same time. Just like
Yep.
Gemini did to Google, as far as I'm
They'll
concerned.
get
Right.
it right. There's people up there in Cupertino working on
Yep.
it as we speak.
Absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
But I think in the end, these are the things that will make AI useful for the
yeah.
everyday person.
It's not about throwing AI in your face. It's the little things that help you do what you're doing a little
Right.
Yes.
Just a
Yes.
little bit easier, quicker, whatever.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah, I agree.
better. I just, I like that they're leading us gently on the path to our overlords with Skynet.
Yeah. Or like-
Yeah. We'll talk about our
I knew you'd
overlords.
appreciate that.
We
I
will
knew
talk
you'd
about
appreciate
the
that.
overlords in just a second because I'm moving us now to our mobile.
You are.
Mhm.
Oh, good for us.
Yeah.
Oh, we are going to talk about our overlords.
Yes,
Okay.
we
Oh
are.
my goodness. Oh my goodness.
Skynet.
Oh my goodness. This is what I
Welcome
get
to
for-
Fantasy Island. Yes.
This is what I get for looking down at the page. Thanks.
There you go.
Awesome.
So, interestingly enough,
I don't even need this article to talk about this, to be honest.
no,
bet not.
no.
Yeah, no
fact,
kidding.
in fact,
This is what we've been saying.
I'm going
over
to
and over.
introduce this, and we've
So
been saying
thanks.
this for a long, long time, but I'm going to introduce this the right way. Anthropic is warning that an AI catastrophe is going to hit in 18 months if
And-
the government doesn't step in and regulate the development of
And for
AI.
those who
Go
don't
back
know,
to our podcast when this all began 2 years
Go back
ago.
to episode number 100, all right,
And
or
that's the-
99,
Yeah,
around there.
And that's when we said it.
and
All right.
for those who don't know, Anthropic is an AI company.
Yes.
So they're in
All
the
right.
business. They know what they're talking about.
Wow, they're even
so-
talking
do.
about
And-
putting guidelines on it for them, so their
We've
own
been,
selves.
we've
Now-
been saying bumpers.
Well, here's the thing. I did recently. I was asked recently to speak at a test automation conference here in Chicago, and I went and I spoke, but my talk was a little bit different, and I'm not trying to pimp the conference or myself really, other than it is my podcast.
Mm-hmm.
It's our
It's my
podcast.
podcast.
But yeah.
and I'll pimp if I
Anyway,
want to. Is that
Well,
what you're saying?
as long as we show up every Sunday, it's your podcast.
That's true. That's very, very true. But everybody there was talking about, this AI product, that AI product, how to use AI in this way, that way, or the other way. My particular talk was, all right, let's talk about what's going on in terms of AI development and as far as guidelines and the bumpers that we've been talking about, right? And I cited two individual executive orders. Executive Order 13960, which is how to use AI with a federal agency, or guidelines for that, and then Executive Order 14110, which is a general set of guidelines for commercial developers. All right. And I went through all of the things, which we've done on a couple of different podcasts, so I'm not going to go into it again, but I went through the whole entire thing
We have.
and explained all of the contents of both executive orders, waited for any questions, and I said, okay, guys, I know you've got bunches of questions. What does this do? What does this mean? How does this work? What does all of this get us? And the answer to this is a big, fat, whopping goose egg. It gets you nothing. It gets you bupkis. All right. Why? Because the executive orders do not have any kind of enforcement powers. They set up some kind of overwatch committees. Both of them do. But these committees have absolutely no power to enforce anything within these executive orders, even though an executive order has the force of law. All right. Long story short, you can follow the executive order or not. The most that the executive or the oversight committees in the executive orders can do is look at you and go, hey, don't do that. And you can go and thumb your nose at them and say, I'm going to do what I want. And they're going to say,
Well,
fine,
yeah.
because they can't do anything about it.
Right.
You keep up with this. If everybody goes and does whatever they want, all right. Anthropic is saying in 18 months, it's all going to go to hell. Skynet's coming. Skynet's coming. All right. They may or may not be wrong. All right.
Yeah. But at the
There's
end of the
no
day,
way really to know. I truly believe that, honestly, I also wrote an article. It's on the site now on what is AI and how does it do what it does. It's very advanced machine learning. All right.
Yeah, we talked about that last week,
Right.
right? Or
And
before that, right.
and it knows exactly what you tell it, and it can. It's a probability engine. It throws different possibilities of all the knowledge that it has together and comes up with different combinations that sound like original ideas. They aren't. They are just different combinations of the information that you've already given it. I don't believe that AI will actually turn self-intelligent or self-aware. All right. I think it will be a fluke, but it's going to come damn close. It's going to come damn close. And it's going to be frightening.
Yep.
Because if you give it the ability to act on any of those suggestions that it has, and who knows, if you give it the ability to come up with a priority list of things to do, and you let it pick one and do it as part of its programming, you're going to have a problem. So,
Yeah, I think we said before. I think, and I think I've said this before. I think that an executive order is probably the wrong way to try to get these things done, and the main reason is because it can be turned over by the next administration and the next administration and the next administration. What you really need to have properly is laws enacted in Congress that put these bumpers in place. Now, that's not easy. We all know that's not easy.
No, there are, as of mid-October, there are about 121 different bills.
Yeah.
And none of them understand. None of the senators or Congress people behind these things understand exactly what they need to do. They don't understand the technology.
No, they don't.
And that's half the problem. All right.
It is.
It's half the problem because they don't know what to do. Everybody realizes we've got to do something, but nobody knows what to do because they don't have the right people putting this stuff together and making the recommendations to those that are in power and have the ability to.
And once again, what did we offer? What did we offer?
What did we offer? We offered us.
Yes, we did.
Come call me, my friends. Come call me. I shall slap thee silly and set you on the right road.
Yeah.
I mean, AI has a potential, unlike anything else, to generate misinformation, as well as, like, for example, a friend of mine posted a video of a supposed movie trailer, and it was completely AI generated. So
I totally get it. I totally get it.
You know, and it's not just movie trailers. It's what if they did that for in politics or anything like that?
Yeah, what if they went ahead and they went ahead and they showed a picture of pick a candidate doing
the argument thing. They've already done these things, right? That's the argument that we've heard, that it's already happened. The trick for us as consumers, for lack of a better word, is that we have to get better and better and better and spend more and more of our time trying to detect these things. And it comes in these movie trailers that Joel said, and these fake political statements, or at least statements that imply something that's not true. And then to make matters worse, we're getting, I hate to say it, AI is generating better and better crap spam mail that is easier for us to fall to because they look real. It's hard for us to know anymore that they're not real.
Yeah, you may actually have to have the ability to look at and examine an email header at this point. Most folks don't even know that emails had headers.
But even that isn't enough sometimes, because they're getting better and better at spoofing things. So we have to get better and better at it. But more importantly, we need the tools and we need the bumpers and the rules to say, okay, if you do this, the penalties are going to be a lot higher.
Yes, you will.
The penalties are not high enough to kind of dissuade anybody from doing it. That's the
They
problem.
aren't.
All of these things.
They
You
aren't.
know, they can make the penalties higher. Just look at what they're
That's
doing
part
now
of it.
for the flop in athletics. They're charging coaches $50,000 out of their own pocket when one of their players does a flop. You know,
Yeah,
a fake injury.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
they can put bumpers on this stuff.
They can put it on there. Now, will that be the end all? No, there's other things they need to do,
It'll
but
help
that's a
it.
start. All of this stuff would help. And I hate to go, oh, kids, more regulation, but this is one of
Right.
those situations that without it, we cannot
Agreed.
hope to stop this. We have to do. This
Agreed.
is one of those times where you unfortunately need your central government to do something useful. You really
Agreed.
do.
Agreed. All right.
We need that.
And unfortunately, like I said, I'm very concerned about who has the power, all right, to put these things in place. All right. I don't want to get political, but there are certain folks on both sides of the aisle that I would not want to have sponsored any kind of IT related bill.
Yeah.
Oh, let's don't let them do any of it. Period.
No.
Zero.
So
Ah.
I got a great idea though. Why don't we move on and talk about how your Tesla can now run Android?
Kind of.
Well,
Kind
talk
of.
to me, Joel.
Yeah. So
give me the things.
Saw this video here. We got both the YouTube video and there's a Kickstarter for this. And being that this is the Kickstarter, I would caution anyone that's thinking that this might actually be usable. We'll find out. But there's a company, they're trying to bring out this device called a ScreenMate. So basically what this does is it plugs into your Tesla under the dash and gives you full-on Android on the infotainment screen. And you can run pretty much any kind of Android app, and they're working on trying to make it like the primary interface for your Tesla. So that not only can you like use Google Maps instead of Tesla's maps, use other things like maybe read your Gmail or something while you're parked or something. They're
gonna have to put locks and restrictions on things like that to meet government regulation. But yeah. Can't run video while you're driving, that kind of thing.
Well,
it's illegal.
It is illegal, but there are a number of products that are out there that will actually allow you to run video and even stream live TV. All right, while you're driving.
Yeah.
Right.
There's other hacks on actual Android Auto and CarPlay screens. So I mean,
I know
this is going to be the Kickstarter is $5.99. And you get one of the first to get the TestLogic ScreenMate is the full name of the device, and they're estimating delivery. It's not a real thing yet, but they're estimating delivery in May of 2025. It looks like it's similar to like some of these devices that we've used to add Android Auto to the car because it comes with a phone
to your
right. But it has like in the box has the ScreenMate computer, the phone holder, all the wiring that you need to wire it into CAN bus and everything else.
I think it's an interesting idea, but it would concern me about what other kind of hacks would be inserted into my car, or it could be, by bad software, by bad actors.
Personally, I would like Elon to buy them.
Since the Tesla is in fact a mobile computer. Truly mobile. It's got wheels.
And it has been hacked before.
Yeah.
So those kinds of things concern me, that you're going to insert a device whose main goal is to basically hack the existing product.
Right. But what I think is really kind of
we're jailbreaking our Tesla.
Right.
Effectively, you are. All right.
I mean, that's what you're doing.
What's interesting about this is that you don't need to replace the screen. It's just that box that goes in there, and you activate this by touching your four fingers to the screen all at once.
Yeah, so it doesn't completely replace
kind of interface.
Right, it doesn't completely replace the standard interface.
Gotcha.
So all those things will still work.
No, it will run on top, and you don't have to, if for whatever reason you need service or you need something, it's always just a matter of pulling the box out and taking the cables away and then putting them back in. after you get your stuff done.
Mhm.
Well, it's an interesting idea.
It is. It is an interesting idea. And I would love to see something like this, to be very, very honest. I would love to see something like this on a conventional vehicle.
Yeah.
All right. It would
Mhm.
really be nice to be able to have the same kind of big screen, whatever it is, right? As where your all your dash and all your um uh uh odometer readings, your dashboard stuff is
Mhm.
all there. All right. I would love to see that on a regular conventional vehicle as opposed to just an electric. Um,
Right.
there's enough going on with conventional vehicles that it probably could support it with just a
Mhm.
little bit of additional
Yep.
technology,
Well, case
but
in
it's
point though is there's the unless a car has either like the CarPlay or Android Auto abilities, most infotainment
right.
systems universally suck. Tesla is probably an exception to that rule. Theirs has
No,
been highly reported.
I would argue there's sucks too. I've looked at it. It's not
Well,
great.
yeah, I mean, it's put it this way, it's better than like my 2017 Traverses,
Yeah,
which
yeah.
was
Oh
awful.
yeah.
So
Oh yeah.
I
Yeah,
mean,
it's
that's
better
the
than
thing.
my 2014 um uh Highlander
Hmm.
standard interface, right?
Yeah, but you have to go down layers to get some simple things done. It's not a
You
great
do.
interface.
You
Hmm.
It's not
do.
a great interface.
You
Yep.
do.
You know,
So interestingly enough, this thing is a Kickstarter
Yep.
yep.
project. It they had a goal of $50,000.
Right.
All right. They have raised almost $750,000.
Yep.
All right, for this. All right. With as of this recording, 11 days to go, and they've got almost 1,200 backers. All
Right.
Wow.
right. Unfortunately, you must be a Tesla owner to be able to use this. Number
Right.
one, right? And number two, you have to be at least comfortable enough with getting into the
Yeah.
vehicle underneath the dash and monkeying around with some stuff.
Fabric panel, the remove. It sounds like it's fairly easily to install. There's no soldering or anything.
Sure.
Well, I'm sure
So,
you'll avoid some warranty when you
You know,
do that.
Oh, of course you
it
will.
reminds me, I was following a YouTube guy a while ago that was talking about a Toyota that he had and he gotten from the dealer. And he found that there was basically a tracking device inserted because it was relatively easy to do. And it was inserted under his
oh,
dash.
well, they make tracking
And
devices that plug in the OBD2 port. That's nothing new.
absolutely. Well,
Yeah.
that wasn't where it was plugged in, but yes, they do. My point is
Right.
this again, this is just another scary access point in my thinking.
Hmm.
I don't
Hmm.
like it, but but I get it. I get why people would want it, but to me, if I had a Tesla, I'd be like saying no, thank you. I'm not screwing with the thing.
Sure.
But
Yeah.
that's a
I
sort of
get
my
that.
2 cents.
Yeah.
But the Tesla people like to play. I mean, they do. I mean, look at
Hmm.
the, I mean, it's the mindset that typically buys a Tesla. They like to play. I get it.
Yep.
This is just another thing they can do.
Yep.
So I get it.
But this looks interesting, and it looks fairly easy to install, right?
Hmm.
And it looks fairly easy to pull out if you got to go get some level of service done.
Yep.
So no
Yep. It's
worries.
just a matter of plugging in. Like it's like it loops in around the MCU on the Tesla.
Yeah.
So I mean, cable comes from that normal looks like the normally would plug into the MCU,
Yeah.
plugs
Hmm.
into the screen mate, and then the cable from the screen mate
It goes
to
back
the
to the
The
MCU,
MCU. Yeah.
diagnostics
and then
connector,
Yeah.
and
right to
you're
the
in,
diagnostic connector, and then
and you're
that's
in.
all. Yep.
You know,
Yeah. Yeah.
it's
That,
really,
yeah.
really interesting. And as long as
Yep.
you can put it back,
Yeah.
to go get service, you're fine.
Hmm. Yeah.
So
Yeah.
interesting.
Uh,
Interesting.
Yep.
So you can get Android on your Tesla,
Hmm.
right? And what version? What did they say? What version of Android this is?
Let me see.
Supports?
See,
Because
and that's the other thing that I worry about with
uh,
Kickstarter projects is because a lot of
yeah.
times that
yeah,
it
how
comes
easy is
with
it to upgrade the version of
well,
Android?
it would come with whatever release it comes with, and that's it. I mean, and
Uh,
yeah, like I bought a a tablet called the Jai tablet, and it it came with a Remix OS, which is basically a reskinned version of Android, and it only came with what version 9 or 10 or I forget what
Oh
version it had
gosh.
on it.
Okay.
And
Right.
they never got an
Sure.
upgrade. In fact, then Remix is completely and Jai, they're completely gone now. So
Ugh. Yeah. Well,
so
that
I'm
happens.
skeptical about some of these
Yeah.
things. Let's see, Android 14, which is only one release behind right now.
Yeah.
This is
Okay.
why
Soon
you
to be
should buy
two.
products from like Samsung or Google or,
Yeah. Yeah, I'm skeptical with that. I've gotten burned on Android-based devices twice on Kickstarter.
Mm,
So I'm not really super enthused, but hey, Elon, buy these guys. They're
yeah.
smart. Either that or just do it yourself.
Uh,
Make it better.
we have something else cool on the horizon though, don't we?
This is what
Yeah,
I'm saying. This
faster
is where I
Android
was kind of
upgrade.
going. Android 16
Yeah.
is coming. Now, there's a lot of folks that don't even have Android 15 yet.
Yeah, because it just came out in what, Q4 now of 2024. But they're saying that the new SDK would be released in uh, the second quarter of 2025, which is not all
Which
that
is
far away, folks.
no, which kind of
Mm.
makes me wonder, are a lot of people or a lot of companies going to go to 15? Or are they just going to jump to 16?
Yeah, maybe. I
You
don't
It's a
know,
know.
little out of sequence, isn't it, for them? A
That
little early.
doesn't really matter to me because I have a Pixel, so that means I
you're
should
going to
get
get
it
them
by
all
then.
anyway.
They're going to get them
Right,
all anyway.
right. So, and by the way, that's my recommendation. If you want to be in on the latest Android stuff, don't mess with Samsung. Don't mess with Huawei. Actually, definitely don't mess with Huawei. Um, go with the Pixels. You know,
True.
Yeah, the Google devices are always going to get the latest flavor.
yep.
You know,
And you're going to have longer support, quicker. You're going to get the releases almost before
Sooner.
everyone
Yeah,
else.
it's
Almost.
true.
And you'll
Samsung's
get
getting pretty good.
you'll get more updates.
Yeah.
Yes.
But
But
Samsung always has to wait until the core gets pushed to them from
mm-hmm.
Google, so they're
Yep.
always going to be slightly behind the animal there. But they have a
Yep.
good deal. They have a good arrangement with Google. Let's face it, that they should. They bring
Yes.
a lot of money in.
Yeah. Yeah. So they're basically saying the major SDK would be released in Q2 with a minor in Q4. And
Interesting.
Q3 being and Q1 being features only. We'll see. I want to be honest. Android 15 was almost a non-event for me. There are some differences, but there's not a lot of differences. Almost not noticeable if you had 14 on the Pixel 9
Yeah.
Pro and you loaded 15, you're not going to notice. I didn't even have problem. Usually I have problem with DJI apps running after a major Android release. I didn't have that problem this time. They all worked fine because, DJI has to be they're not on the Play Store. You have to sideload them.
Right.
So, which not a fan of, but
Understood, though. Understood why.
yeah,
We
yep.
get it.
But
So,
we'll see what happens. We'll see if that really happens or not. I kind of excited by it. I think it's a good idea.
no.
We'll see what happens. I mean, because we're right now, Android and iOS are very stable operating systems. They're
Yeah.
nowhere near as unstable as they were just a very short time ago.
True.
So, yeah. So
we've
like I
gotten
said,
kind of complacent with that, haven't we?
yeah.
We like them being stable.
You think?
You're
You
so
know,
picky. You're so picky.
Yeah.
I want a stable phone operating system.
Mhm.
Well, you know what? You
What?
expect to be creative on your stove and your oven. You don't expect your toaster to be creative.
This
It
is
just
true.
has to
Right.
work.
Yeah.
Right.
Very,
You know.
very true.
Mhm.
True.
All right, kids, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to move us to our Windows segment, but I'm going to do that right after this brief message. 100 episodes. The iTechGear Weekly has more than 100 episodes. We've been doing this, oh my goodness, for almost 4 years. And to be very honest, the iTechGear Weekly needs your help. We need your subscriptions. We need your donations. Anything at any time would be very much appreciated. We need your help. I will tell you that I am about $3,000 a year in on site maintenance as well as show maintenance. And while we're not really going to stop, we really do need your help. Any kind of donation that you can go ahead and provide to us, either through a Patreon subscription or directly to the site via my personal PayPal, Chris at iTechGear.org, would be greatly appreciated. You can subscribe to a monthly newsletter for just a small amount every month at www.patreon.com/iTechGear. If you do that, you get a summary of all of the shows. You get a summary of all of the articles that we post with direct links to everything that happens on the site. Boy, we've had a great time over the last 3 years and change, providing everyone with the steps and procedures needed to make technology all that much easier to understand and use. Boy, again, we could use your help in making it easier to provide those wonderful things that we do, that voodoo that we do so well, to you on a daily and weekly basis. So please, if you have the time, smash that subscribe button on the podcast. If you have the time and you have the inkling, go to our Patreon site, www.patreon.com/iTechGear. Subscribe to our newsletter. Provide us with a small donation. One time, monthly, doesn't matter. We'll go ahead and continue to provide you with that knowledge and insight that all four of us have every week. I want to say thank you to you, even if you don't donate, even if you don't subscribe. I still want to thank you for the opportunity to come to you every week, because we sure do have a great time doing the show. So from all of us here at the iTechGear Weekly and from iTechGear.org, we thank you, we love you, and we'll see you soon. And welcome back to the iTechGear Weekly, episode number 112. Help! I've fallen back and I can't get up. And I want to move us to our Windows segment. Our Windows segment is a little light this time around, but I guess that's okay, right? I mean, there's really only one real story in our Windows segment, and it's something that I find very curious and almost confusing, right? Microsoft is hinting that they're getting back into wearables again, with the future of a Surface wearable with AI in it. And Joel, what the hell?
Don't go there, Microsoft.
Yeah.
I mean, they got out of mobile, and they got out of mobile. They got out
every
of,
one of these, like there's a bunch of these AI devices, like what the smart pin or whatever it was, and none of them are good at all.
Let's give folks a little bit of history in that. There was a Microsoft wearable called the Microsoft Band. For those, and Chris,
Right.
you and I both had them.
I did.
And I liked it. I liked
for
the
my wife,
product.
and she really liked it.
I did too. I thought it was
All
a
right.
cool product. It had some flaws, but it was a cool product
It
overall.
was really, really stiff and hard.
Yeah.
And at
Yeah.
times it was painful to wear.
Well, I was gonna say, depending on the shape and size of your wrist, it really was just fine, or it was really painful because it really didn't lend itself to a variety of
It did
shapes.
not.
But the point is, they were in wearables. They have done this before, and so they're talking now about going to like a pin or glasses or some other products branded under the Surface brand name, right? That's what they're
Right.
talking about here
Right.
Right.
as being where they
Which
think it's going.
which is it really a Surface then? That's my question here.
Yeah, that's a fair question.
Right. See,
That's-
and I don't see how it fits into the Surface line.
Me
However,
neither.
the Microsoft's executive VP and consumer CMO Yusuf Mehdi has commented on this, and he thinks that Surface might go next into wearables, and is fascinated with wearable AI technology that can see the world. Smart glasses or the humane AI
Wasn't this
pin.
tried before with Google Glass and it
Yeah.
was judged to be creepy?
Well, so
I still think it's creepy, by the way.
Oh yeah.
yeah. I
As we-
will agree
As we
with
talk
you.
about these other products coming, because they're not the only ones doing this right now, right? So we've talked about Meta has an AR product that leverages glasses to
Right.
get you there, and Google did it, and I think it's a
Apple.
thing. Apple's well, they haven't done it yet, not the AR glasses
Well, that's
thing,
true.
but the conversation is that there's a lot of thought that they're going there, or they're going to try to go there, right? So the point is, all of these things have to be able to see what's around them. And that raises so many legal issues, so many questions, so many privacy issues.
Yeah.
Where do you even go with that? So it isn't about the technology. You know what I mean? It's not about whether AI is in it or not. It's about
Is
okay,
it
so now
appropriate? Can you take that
Yeah.
into a certain
So now
geographic area and have it
what's
be
gonna happen?
appropriate?
We're going to have connections to the internet with these devices of some
Yep.
sort, right? They're going to use AI. So what's to stop it from saying, hey, wait a minute, you're on the most wanted list, and use those just like they do traffic cameras or other things to try to spot
Right.
people? And what's to stop you as a consumer from not letting that happen with yours? The point is,
The last thing that we need to do
It's a
is
surveillance
enable the
thing.
Karens out there. All right.
Yeah.
I mean, it's bad enough.
it all
all
becomes
right.
about, so how does this help us versus becoming a surveillance kind of thing? And that
Well,
all scares me.
So
That
the,
again,
the
bumpers,
thing that
kids,
I think
bumpers.
that Yusuf Mehdi said that might be interesting is that you could take this device, whether it's a glasses or a pin or something, out with you, and it can quote unquote see the world. You could interact with it, and it can give you information. You know how you go into a museum and you come up to a certain thing, and you come within a certain radius, and you've got the earphones on, and it tells you about, it's got this thing that's going on,
Well,
and it
I've got
tells you
something like
about
that
what you're
now,
looking
yeah.
at. Now, from there, I can think, well, that could be interesting, because you can stop it in the middle of it and ask it a question, and it should respond. All right. And then you can go off on this,
But
wonderful tangent.
you don't need it to see your environment necessarily to do that. I'll give you an example. I have an app I use. I go to the Henry Ford Museum,
Right.
and I have an app that I run, and it knows, it uses mapping and GPS to see where
Yep.
I am in the museum.
Yep.
And it can take you on tours and say, go
Mhm.
here now. When you're in this spot, it'll play a
The
clip
thing.
about the location. And
Right.
it would be a very small step for me to say, tell me more, and have it go out and get, some AI information using my phone. I don't need some special pin or device to do that.
Right.
Is what I'm getting at.
your phone and a Bluetooth earphone.
And I'm good to go.
and you're good to
I'm
go.
good to
Yep.
go.
Yeah.
To me,
No,
this sounds exactly like just one more can of worms.
yeah.
I think so
You're
too.
not kidding.
If you're gonna add cameras into the mix, or microphones directly into the mix,
Correct.
live microphones that are
Yep.
always listening. It's just like me. What we've talked about having a home pod or one of those other related devices on your home all the time. I don't want a device sitting in my home listening all the time. I just don't
Sure.
want it. This
Right.
is like that. It's
Yeah,
watching and listening.
the thing
all
you
the
don't
time.
want to have happen is you tell a joke, and then Siri laughs, and Alexa laughs, and Google laughs, and everybody's all happy now. So
Yeah,
I
there
get
you
it.
go. But the
Yeah.
point is, this is not a. I think it raises as many questions as it does answers.
Yeah,
So, okay,
absolutely.
I think it's interesting that they're thinking about this for their Surface line, but really, have you actually thought about this and what this
I don't
means?
think it fits into the
I think
Surface
they're
I don't
line.
looking
either.
for something. The Microsoft's always been looking for something
Yeah.
lately. Just whatever. They don't know what they're looking for.
You know what might be interesting is if um
They can't even get
they brought
HoloLens
back,
right.
I mean, if you brought back some level of Microsoft Band or some kind of wearable
Yeah.
that it monitors your, and we already do this right now. It monitors your vitals and
Sure.
your blood oxygen and your heart rate and whatnot. But if you were actually to go ahead and get it registered as a medical device and have AI in there with that, I mean, you could actually have this thing call you suffer some level of event and it could call
Sure.
911 for you wherever you are. It can
Yep.
go ahead and bring the help right to you.
Totally
And it
different
can
thing.
bring and it could bring
But isn't that what these
the
watches do
EMTs up
already?
to speed with what's going on with you when they arrive. You know, Eh,
Yeah, theoretically, these watches can already do that, or to an
theoretically
extent do
they
that.
can. They just need
You know,
a
but AI adding a little infusion of AI doesn't bother me with that.
no.
But it does bother me again when you tie it to a microphone, when you tie it to a camera
Yep.
that you're
I
wearing
get
on
it.
your face
I
or
get it.
wearing on a pin. That makes me go, okay, what else are you doing with my connection? What else are you
Thank
doing
you.
while you're live?
Yes.
I don't want to.
Big
I just
brother,
don't know.
Big Brother is listening.
Yeah, I don't know if I want to be there. I mean, we're already kind of there, but I don't want to. I don't want to make it go there any faster or any more aggressively.
I agree. I do think that Microsoft is missing a huge piece of the market because they got completely out of wearables. They got completely out of mobile.
Yeah,
And
I
I
think
think that
right.
this guy sees something that, where Microsoft could get back in again, but based on what they've done so far and how many times they've, dipped their toes into the water.
Yeah.
I mean,
I
at
don't
this
think they
point,
have anyone in house that's
they've stuck their
championing.
whole foot in and then they pulled their whole foot out, right? They stuck their whole foot back in. And I think where they are is to turn it all about.
And then took their foot and put it in their mouth is what they did.
Yeah. Yeah. But they're too close to doing the hokey pokey at this point.
Yeah,
And I would
they're
really
real
just
close.
rather them just to stay out. You're out.
Yeah, this
You're
is
out.
not
Stay out.
is not your realm anymore.
No.
Move on.
You're out and stay out.
Interesting though. Very, very interesting.
So I want to go ahead and move us to our tip of the week segment at this point. And I want to remind everyone, hey, iTechGear was founded with the intent of making technology easy for everyone to use and understand. This team of august professional individuals.
Did you hire a new team and not tell us?
No.
Yeah.
Oh.
Professional, you say?
Yes.
Professional, you say? Yeah.
August
has dedicated their writing careers to specifically to this purpose. And every week, the iTechGear Wiki wants to feature a new computing tip authored or by one of our experienced editors. And if you've got questions, requests, suggestions, or you just want to go ahead and make a comment, do me a favor, send a piece of email to tips@itechgear.org, and we'd be happy to answer your question, respond back, or tell you just to get off of our lawn.
I can do that.
So, Larry, you were talking earlier this week about a very specific something or other for setting up some Microsoft PCs that you support.
I was.
Right? And Microsoft Windows 11 now requires you to get a Microsoft account, don't they?
Well, they do, but it's a yes and no. Here's the deal. This tip doesn't apply to everybody, but it should apply to probably more people than it does, because a lot of us use Windows PCs without or in an environment that we can't use a Microsoft account, like a work environment, some kind of an organization, whatever.
We do.
And all of us are old enough to remember the years that have gone by when, all before 2005, when we could just fire up a brand new machine and put on a local standard account or an admin account. But those days are gone for new PCs. Once you get the PC set up, Yeah, you can go to settings and you can create all the local accounts you want. But the problem that Microsoft is inducing with this new, and they've made it just recently even worse. Up until about 3 months ago, we all used to use the trick, and every IT person has used this for years. You just when it asks for your Microsoft account, you put in no at thankyou.com, password 12345. And that's
Right.
it. It lets you in and you just set it up. And you say, no, I don't want to really do this. I'm going to set it up for school or a workplace. And it lets you go on and create the local account. It won't do that anymore. No PC that you buy today that's manufactured in the last 3 or 4 months will let you do that. And it wouldn't be a typical Sunday here on iTechGear Weekly if we didn't bash Microsoft just a little bit. No,
It's
in
true.
my
Or
opinion,
Apple or Google
or Apple or
bash.
Google,
Yeah,
but
yeah.
in my opinion, they deserve it over this one. First of all,
Yeah.
some empirical data. Like I said, 2005 and previous, you could set this up. In 2005, Microsoft introduced what was called the Windows Live ID. We all
Yep.
remember this.
Yep.
And
We
it was the precursor to the
The
Microsoft
Microsoft account. Yeah.
and then in 2012, it was the Microsoft account. And now Microsoft thinks you absolutely must have that account on there.
Yeah.
And the reason is plain and simple. They want to market Microsoft 365 to you in that account. That's it. That's the only
They want to
big
market. They want to market
everything,
Microsoft
really.
products. It doesn't. It's
Right.
not
Well,
necessarily just
Copilot,
Office,
whoever.
Yeah.
but
So,
it's
but what they've done, they've made it really tough. So
they have.
there used to be another way. There still exists one other way to circumvent this pitiful attempt to force you to have a Microsoft account. But you can't do this unless you got to do it at the command line. And it's a little picky. I've done it several times, but I don't recommend the average user try this unless they're really, really sure, because you can really blow your machine up. So what people don't think about, and it's really simple. When you buy a new PC, if you don't want to put your Microsoft account on there, you don't have to. You do initially. You put on your Microsoft account, then immediately you go to settings and you create that local account, log off of both, log back in with the local account, blow your admin account that had the Microsoft account tied to it. And from that moment on, there's nothing left on that machine tied to Microsoft.
The only caveat here is that the local account must be set up as an
An
administrator
admin.
account.
Right. And
Right.
that was my next statement is don't do this. The first one you set up must be an admin account or you'll hose everything.
Right.
After that, you can add other local users.
So
and
just to clear,
standard
just
users.
to clean this up a little bit, this process a little bit. Set up Windows as you normally would and log in with your Microsoft account.
Yep.
Right. After it's all done doing what it's doing, open up control settings, go
Yep.
to accounts,
Users.
create a local account.
Users. Go to users.
Right. And go and create a local account with administrator privileges.
Right.
Right.
True.
And then log out of
Both.
the machine. Right.
You need to log out of
Now-
both of them because you won't be able to kill your Microsoft account if it's still logged in.
True.
So
Right.
But make sure you log out of your Microsoft account, sign out of that.
right.
So
Come back, then restart or just sign out and then
Yep.
go back into Windows and
Yep.
then delete the Microsoft account from Windows.
Poof, it's gone. Just
And
like
then
that.
now you're left with Windows with a local account with administrator privileges that will allow you to do
The-
everything else
Everything.
that you
not
would
quite.
with your Microsoft account, but it's not a Microsoft account.
Let me correct me though. They're not yet. You can use your machine. You can install apps. So you can't use the Windows Store,
No, right. This
you
is
can't
only
use-
for
and you
right.
can't use Microsoft Defender if you like that as your antivirus
That's
tool.
true.
Because you have to
There
sign in
are
for
some
those services.
limitations. Yes.
So I want to make it clear that you don't get everything, but
Well,
anything that was service based, you don't get.
You
anymore.
do get the basic Microsoft, the little blue shield, the first level
And the
of that.
Windows update, yeah.
You get
Yeah.
all of that. You just can't add the enhanced Defender that comes
Right.
with Office, and you
Right.
can't run your Office account because you have
And
to
you
have
can't
that.
run your Office account.
But
Right.
there are many people who don't
do
need this
agree.
on their computer. They don't want it on
Right.
their computer.
No, I agree. It's interesting. It's
So
just
I
this
just
is
interesting.
don't know
just
why they're so forceful about this when they know. I mean, all the
Well,
PCs that I deploy are in a Google environment, and I don't
well,
know.
maybe that's what it is, Larry. They want to push. It's all about services now. That's where the continuing revenue is.
right.
So that's what they want to push.
That's what they're trying
all the
to
way
get.
around. I get it.
Yeah.
And they're all kind of going that way.
They are.
Really.
They
But
are.
anyway, this does work. It's a really easy fix, and
That's a
Right.
good
it.
fix. I like that fix.
Yeah. So
It's a good thing to know.
it is. It is. And I'm going to go ahead and say thank you, Mr. McJunkin, for that. And I'm going to move us to our pick of the week segment because I've been dying to get here
We all have.
the whole
Yeah.
show because this is a very special week. All right.
We've all
is
turned
we get
our
to why.
video
Is this a very special episode of Blossom? I just want to know.
It is.
Yeah.
Yes.
It is.
Okay.
I want to talk to you about your flower. Anyway.
Boo.
I'm gonna go ahead.
HR.
Move us.
Oh my gosh.
I am HR. Anyway, we're going to move us to our pick of the week segment. But before we get into it, I want to take a moment again to remind our listeners that our show picks are typically hardware, software, and other items of interest that we have individually purchased and actually use, and that we like enough that we want to recommend them to you, our growing listener base. These are not paid advertisements or items which we have any kind of affiliated marketing relationship with. If they were, the editorial policy over at iTechGear.org indicates that we have to let you guys know that up front. These are just sincerely things that we believe in and that we want to bring to you at the end of each show. Why?
Because we like you.
I swear you guys are never going to
We're
get
getting better. We're getting better.
I even
Oh my
cue
goodness.
you. I even cue you and you never get it.
I
Anyway,
don't know.
so this week, and this is what's so special about this week, Chris G has a brand new pick for us, and it's an exciting one too.
It's Thanksgiving miracle, man.
You have to admit you like it.
I do.
You have to admit you like this.
I won't buy it, but I really do like it. I really do.
I'm not buying that.
No, apparently you already did.
Apparently I already did.
Right.
Yeah. So let me give a little backstory, folks. Historically, probably about a year and a half ago, I tried to buy a Amazon Kindle. I have iPads and I use Kindle on there, but I wanted to be able to use it in an environment where I wasn't putting my iPad at risk because the iPad's an expensive device, and so I wanted a less risky device. So I thought I'd get a Kindle. What I found was the Kindle. I found it almost unreadable. It was just too dark and not good. It didn't work with me. Now, what I found out a little later, and that was that I actually had been developing cataracts, and I didn't know that. So that's changed. I've had surgery since, and it's been done. So that's not as big an issue for me. But these devices have actually gotten better in their current generation. So a little bit brighter, a little bit clearer, and all that kind of stuff. Little changes. So I went ahead and through a happy circumstance a few days back there, I happened to be able to find at my local Best Buy an Amazon Kindle Color Soft, the first of the color Kindles.
Shut the front door.
Now, color e-ink technology has been around for a little while now, using a variety of techniques that are out there. And other competitors had color products out, but Amazon did not. Amazon usually won't do it till they can bring it to the masses cheaply, pretty much. That's kind of their spin on this stuff. And so they finally did. They've released this Color Soft device. It has 32 gig of storage, which is more than they usually had as their base. So they've upped that a little bit. And it's a 7-inch device, just like the Kindle Paperwhites. Matter of fact, it's the same form factor. We'll talk about that in a moment. It's the same form factor as the Kindle Paperwhites, but it's got a color layer as well as a black and white layer. And the Black and white layer runs at 300 DPI, just like their other devices. So you have pretty good high resolution screen going on there. And the color layer only runs at 150, but it's not in replacement of the black and white. It's kind of on top of it. It's just another layer. So you can add color to something that's already black and white. It's not an either or proposition kind of thing. So you don't have to fake black and white on a color screen, as it were. You know,
Okay.
So what you do is you get a pretty decent image going on. I will say e-ink is a little slow. People have to understand it's not the same as your LED lit machines. It's a little slower. It works great in sunlight, less well in dark environments. The backlight, or I should say the front light, is actually not too bad. Again, they got better in each generation. And if you had decent lighting right in your room, you're good to go. It's a very light device. It's very nice if you're reading, if you want to sit on the beach reading your novels, it's a great device for that. The color layer means that with more and more books are coming where they have some color in them, more and more graphic novels. Amazon incorporated Comixology into their product lineup, so they have a lot of graphic novels and comics now. If you're into that, manga or any of these kinds of things that may or may not use some color. Even if you're just like the fact that your book covers are now in color, that's all of that is very, very nice. It's a very nice device. They say that you'll get a few weeks of life out of this thing, on a charge. My reality says a few days, not a few weeks. That's what I've seen.
Well, it all depends on how much you're going to use it, doesn't
Well,
it?
if you use it, it's about how much you're going to use it, but it's also, are you using the front light and do you have it turned up quite a bit and that kind of thing. And I do, to be fair. But the point is, it's a pretty dramatic change over their quote unquote expected life when you turn.
Well,
that
sure.
on.
I mean, it's not going to last weeks and weeks, right? I mean,
no, it can't.
I mean, if you're looking at some older ebooks, right?
Yeah.
From your Amazon library, and they're all black and white, you're going to be fine.
You're going to be perfectly content with this and good with this. It's a little laggy. Again, like I said, these e-ink screens are a little slow.
Well, yeah, it sort of morphs, right? It sort of morphs into the new page.
Not really. It redraws, and you'll occasionally get like a negative image flash for a second while it changes to the next one. I also find the buttons, the screen is a little less responsive than I'd like in terms of touching. But again, these are the compromises you make with a less expensive device. It's kind of the nature of the thing.
How less expensive is
so this is a color device, so it's more than some of the other Kindle devices out there. It's $279. The Scribes get higher priced than this, so it's not the top of the line in terms of pricing either. But as a color device goes, it's right in there in line with the competitors pretty much as to what they're charging for color e-ink. It's not too far out of kilter for them. And for $279, you get a 32 gig device, like I said, 300 DPI black and white, 150 DPI color, and it's USB-C charging. They do give you a USB-C to USB-A cable in the box. No charger, but you do get the cable in the box. But so it's not too bad. It's not too bad, I think, for the price point that you're getting at. And of course, it hooks pretty easily into your Amazon library. I did find in my case, I used this automatic setup that they have that you can do against your phone. To say if you already had the app running on your phone, you can tell it to automatically set up. And it put the information in, but my library didn't pop up. I actually had to turn the device completely off and turn it back on, and then my library popped up. But before that, it didn't pop up. It said I was there. It said I was connected.
But...
No, but it's a little, I think, quite frankly, it's the first generation software for their color device. Sure. I think there's some glitchiness in the software that'll probably smoothen out. But it's not unusable at all. I mean, you're not getting smacked in the face with big glitches or anything like that. They're all little things. I think people are going to find this to be very useful. It's funny because a lot of the things I saw online were talking about how expensive it was because it's $279. Well, that's because the Paperwhite versions are cheaper. I understand that. But the thing is, if you want a little color, I don't think $300 or under $300 is an unreasonable price point at all.
When they sold the Oasis, it was way more than that. I mean, the high-end one.
This is kind of slotted in that market with where the
Right.
Oasis was.
So
Yeah.
So the Oasis is gone.
comparatively though, all right,
Yeah.
the Kindle is $110.
Yeah.
All right.
Yep.
The Kindle Paperwhite is $160.
Yeah.
All right.
That's their big seller, the paperwhite.
Right. The
Yeah.
Kindle Paperwhite Signature Edition, all right, is $199.
And this is a signature edition. They refer to that because it has more RAM, more
right.
storage.
All right. The Kindle ColorSoft Signature Edition is $280, and the Kindle Scribe with redesigned display. This is the one that you can actually write on.
Yep.
And do e-ink. Like there are a couple of other products that are out there that do that.
Yeah, there are Remarkable.
Remarkable
and some
is probably the biggest competitor.
Books is another one.
Right.
You know, they're out there.
That's priced at $400. So
it's right in there for color.
It is. And honestly, this is
so
this is all solid state. This is all a little bit sturdier. This is all a little bit better, I think, to take on the beach as opposed to
I think
an iPad or some other kind of tablet.
Yeah.
I think if you're in a darker environment, the Paperwhite's a little bit more better
Difficult
with the black and white contrast than this is, because you have this color layer on top as well. But this is perfectly good. It really is quite readable, quite good.
Sure.
And I think that it's a good place for them to be. Some people have, some of the online reviewers I've seen look at these and compare them to some of these other products, have said for products that use the similar screen technology, this is actually slightly more saturated and than some of the competitors, and they think it's because of the way Amazon implemented the screen was a little different. So it's decent. Even in color, it's decent. So
right. So
I'll give them some credit. It's good.
So the nice thing
do
about
think
this
it's nice.
is this will do ebooks.
It
all
will.
right? It will do your graphic novels, right?
Yep.
It will do podcasts if you subscribe to
Audible.
All right. It will do your audio books as well from Audible.
Yep, it will.
And this is, and it's going to give you just about anything that you would want on a tablet, except for that pen or really serious touch experience, right? So if you're really into reading the written word, this is, and you want like a little bit of color, they're gonna make you pay $80 more for it, as opposed to the Paperwhite Signature Edition. All right.
Yep.
So, and it's the only color device that they have. Even the $400 Kindle Scribe doesn't do color, so it's black and white only.
So on a side note, one of the things I was commenting on in the pre-show to everybody was that there doesn't appear to be a case for this at this point in time. And our own Mr. McLaughlin found out that Mr. Joel found out for us that it's the same case as the Paperwhite. And so you can buy the Paperwhite. Now, I will say, if you look at the Paperwhite case online, you can get the black one right now, but you can't get the green or the pink. The green or the pink are 2 to 4 months out.
Wow.
But the black one you can get like right away.
Nice.
Yeah.
Well, that's actually pretty cool, for folks that want to get a little color in their ebook life. This is probably one of the better ways to do it.
I think it is.
And since it's coming from Amazon, the king of books, ebooks, audiobooks, books everywhere, it's not a bad
way to go.
I'm actually, I can hear my aunt rolling over in her grave right now. She was very, very much into, reading what she called her smut novels, right? The romance kind, and she would get them all on her Kindle.
Tell your aunt to stay out of my library. No.
Well, you'd have to. It's a long distance call to get to her now.
Yeah, no kidding.
Yeah, she passed away in 2021. But
my goodness.
So, but this is something that I know that she'd chase after if she were still.
Absolutely.
Living. So this is very nice. Well, that's it, kids. That is the show. This has been the iTechGear Weekly, episode number 112. Help! I've fallen back and I can't get up. Recorded live Sunday, November 3rd, 2024, live from iTechGear Central for Dr. Mr. Larry McJunkin. Oh, God, I am really kind of, Yeah. For Dr. Mr. Larry McJunkin, Brother Joe McLaughlin, and Mr. Chris Gavula, I want to say, forgive us, and we'll see you next time.
Mhm.